Hi there folks, welcome back to the channel and part 15 of the Morris Minor series. It's in there guys, it's all ready to go, just need to turn the key hopefully. But before we do, let's go over to Eddie in the past and just see what he was up to get us to this point. Well, Eddie in the past, just buttoning up the bits and bobs to enable us to run this little golden gem. New oil pressure switch in, starter motor back on, bell housing buttoned up, new water valve thing on, stickers on the rocker cover. Not happy because it's not quite perfect, but in mitigation neither were the originals. Oh, and one comment from, I can't remember now. The Westlake patents, I believe, is just when these were made in France. I could be wrong. Comment below if you know better. Anyway, obviously bolting things back on. This is the manifold and carburettor that came with the engine we've now fitted. And the carburettor and manifold off the original engine, which, now we did drive here. Well, yeah, that looks manky. And that doesn't look any better either. Damn my OCD. Oh well, here we go again. Is there a cure for OCD-ness? Anyway, moving on. Right, I refuse to get involved too much with the distributor. This one is actually off the original engine that was in the car. I know it works, but I also know the vacuum unit is kaput. It has a little bit of wear in the shaft, but it works. That'll do. So I'm not going to get involved making it look pretty. What I will do is get a vacuum unit for the one on the second-hand engine, because that's also knackered, and that one has no wear in the shaft, so I can make a good one after we get it running. Okay, same with the carburettor. I'll give it a clean up. We knew it worked. It'll do for now. However, the carb that came with the second-hand engine, yeah, this little chap there, is in very good condition, as in wear of shafts and things. So that one could be rebuilt. So, manifold on. No, I didn't shot blast it, it's just high temperature grey paint, which will burn off, and a bit of green just to make it look less manky. So next up is get the tappet set. Tappet adjustments. I literally just wound these down with my fingers to get them in place. We'll get the feeler gauges out. We'll take the plugs out, and I'll show you the little easy method to get them in the right order. Right, before I do the tappet adjustment, the valve clearances, I'm going to put a distributor in. Now, down the hole it can only go one way, so it's not like you've got to mesh it into the teeth, but there's a shaft in there that is driven off the camshaft, and that does need to be in the right place, just so your rotor arm is pointing in the right direction. So what I have done is set the crankshaft. There's some marks on the front pulley, which I'll show you in a second. One moment. So yeah, the marks are right at the bottom of the engine, just to make it a little bit more awkward. But basically the one at, hang on, where's my finger? Yeah, right, yeah. The one at that side is top dead centre. And the two other marks, the first one is 5 degrees, the next one 10 degrees. So I've actually set it to 5 degrees before top dead centre. I've also marked where the number 1 segment on the distributor cap sits right there. So basically we need the rotor arm pointing at that with the points about to open. As can be seen. So if we can get it in the engine, pretty much like that, with the crankshaft set where it is, this thing should hopefully fire straight up. Well, for now that's close enough, so what I will do is just nip the clamp bolts up in place, and then we can have a look at the tappet clearances. Right, valve clearances, tappet adjustments, whatever you want to call them. It's that time. So, there is a simple rule for the 4-cylinder engines, like these old A series. Anyway, what we'll need, feeler gauge. Factory settings was 12 thousandths of an inch, which is 0.3 of a millimetre. The adjustment is set with basically a screw. Tying it in, it closes the clearance, and there's a lock nut. So, the easy method is known as the rule of 9, which basically means we have 8 valves, and if number 8 is all the way down, we would then check number 1, because 8 and 1 makes 9. If number 2 is down, well, we'd check number 7, because 2 and 7 make 9. It's quite simple. So let's rotate the engine round, looking for that one to go down. There she goes. So, check number 1. Where did I put my feeler gauge? Where did I put the feeler gauge? Really? Oh, there she is. Going blind. So, might be a bit hard to see, but there's a gap between the top of the valve and the rocker arm. And if we put that in between, that was actually quite a good guess, to be fair. Right, let's get that between. And I'm going to be all finger and thumbs. It wants to be a tight fit, a nice. So it's got a little bit of drag on it. And then you need to tighten the lock nut up without the screw part moving. Do that. Check it again. Yeah, I can't feel any play in that, but yep, perfect. So that's number 1 done. That's tight. So now it is quite easy to forget which ones you've done. So we've done number 1. It would make sense to put number 7 down, so we can then check number 2 and go through them that way. But however you find it easiest, guys. So I'm going to go through the rest of these and get them set. I'll bring you back when I've finished. Alright, last one, number 8. Get it in. Lovely. Right, that'll do for the clearances for now. Right. Resetting these after the initial braking. Beautiful. I wonder if there's any charge in the battery. That's a step closer. Well, it's getting late, and this is where we are at. Let's now push some oil around the system. So, rocker cover on, and tomorrow we shall hopefully get all the final parts in place, give that battery a charge, and hopefully this little engine will roar into life. Well, a few hours have passed, and yeah, we're another step closer. Radiator in, carburetor on, alternator on, etc, etc. Just a few little details to connect up, and this little A-series is ready to go. Well, with everything back in place and fluids etc filled up, I think we've got enough to put a show on. So let's go over to Wadey about 10 minutes in the future and take it from there. So the plan is start it up, hopefully, and ideally I want to run it for about 20 minutes just to let everything get to know each other and make sure everything's okay. After that I'll probably retorque the head and most of the nuts and bolts, because everything always wants a tweak afterwards. We may have leaks, we may have things we don't want, but that's old engines for you. So, I think it's time, folks. I think it's time to fire this little puppy up. It's showtime. Right. Camera ready. Water to top up the cooling system because it will drop as it gets circulated round. I've already put antifreeze in. A shitty fan, which, because we're technically sat in traffic here with no airflow, I can just blow it into the radiator there, should we need it. There is no throttle cable because it's knackered and it needs a new one, so it's a case of start it up and then I can get on the throttle by hand. So that's all good to go. Right. Question is it going to start? Well, little guy, let's see if you want to play the game. Oh, you just down, sure. You know. Oh, did I? Yep, I did. You know, it's dripping. Right, let me just nip that up. Right, is that cured? Yes. Got an oil leak. I'm going to check it out and then we'll resume this. Okay, so we got an oil leak from here. Now, yes, I should have replaced the copper washers. However, they don't come in the gasket set, and I don't think I've got any. Or at least I couldn't find any at the time. So yeah, I'm going to have a quick look and see if I can find some. Just basically checking for any leaks. And apart from the one there, I'm not seeing any, which is good. Right, I shall have a quick look for some copper washers, see if we can sort this oil leak out, and then continue with the engine braking. Okay, the oil leak might be cured. Didn't have copper washers, but I had Doughty rubber washers, and hopefully they'll stop the leak. So let me just turn the ignition on. Indeed. How sweet is that? looking good. Okay, it's cooled down. It did spit a bit of water out the overflow, but these things are a bit renowned for getting airlocked when you consider the radiators here, but the heater's up there. Yeah, I may have to jack it up and just check there's no air in it. Anyway, the oil leak from just here has stopped, which is good, and I'm not seeing any other leaks, so I think we're all good, folks. And for this video, I think it's come to an end. I'm sure you'll all agree, at least it's a happy one. Well, folks, that's it for this video. And yes, there's going to be a follow-up video of a test drive. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this series. It's in, it's running, and hopefully it'll give the owner years of sterling service. So on that bombshell, folks, thanks for watching, liking and subscribing, all that jazz. Catch you on the next one.